Hi, take two. I'm not sure what happened a moment ago, but my Facebook page just shut down really quickly. So I'm just going to wait a little minute here and make sure it's good to stay. Looks like it's staying for the moment. That's good. Not sure what happened then. Not even sure if you heard what I said after it froze. Anyway, happy Australia Day, everyone. Hope everyone had a lovely day today and got outdoors. I know here on the Sunshine Coast it was a beautiful day. And we got out and had a nice little barbecue and a swim and took the dogs out for a swim. So all in all, everybody's nice and cool, which is a great way to spend the day. So week 2, we are here talking about how and different ways that we can build self-esteem. I just want to quickly touch on what we talked about last week for those who are joining us again and are following through. Last week was all about what your self-esteem is, or what is self-esteem. We covered that it is who you truly are. We talked about your true authentic self. We talked about the tip of the week was to stay true to who you are, and we also had a little exercise to do there. So I'll just wait a few minutes and see if we get some people joining us from last week. See if there's any questions from that before we get started on today. So we're not going to sit here like we did last week at the beginning with those really long pauses, because when people watch it back, takes a little long to get into the core of it all. So we'll keep going. So last week's exercise was to start writing down at the end of your day, or more so just before going to bed, 3 things, if you can, that you're grateful for, or 3 things that made you feel good during the day. They could have been things that you did for others or that others did for you. But the reason why we were looking at doing that is so that we go to sleep with those thoughts on our mind, and that the subconscious mind can enjoy those good feelings of what happened and what you enjoyed throughout your day, rather than going to bed and struggling a little with actually falling asleep, or with the more difficult things that you had to deal with during the day. So hopefully some of you may have taken on that exercise and started to write down a few things. Go for it. Don't stick to 3. 3's the minimum. If you have a lot more that you want to write down, that's fantastic. Go right ahead. Write as many things as you like. Writing's very therapeutic. Makes you feel good in terms of taking things off your mind and putting them onto paper, regardless of what the words actually are in terms of what you're writing about. It's the fact that you're actually getting those feelings out and onto the paper. So you can either look at it and love it, or you can look at it and get rid of it. So it works both ways. That's why I feel that it's a really therapeutic exercise to do, and naturally when we're looking at things we're grateful for, it's very, very positive. So that's what we touched on last week. So this week I want to talk to you guys about ways that you can build your self-esteem. So I've written down a few points, so I'll keep referring to my notes, because that's where I get my inspiration from prior to doing talks or meeting with people. I like to sort of put my thought into what we're going to discuss, and tonight I've written down a few. So if you've got a pen and paper handy again, that would be fantastic. Grab that and jot down a few things as we go. So the first thing that you can do, or there's no particular order, these are just things that I've written out, and that I would like you to have a look at it at your leisure, and see what makes you feel good, if you like, or what resonates with you, and what's something you could perhaps put into place to, again, build your own self-esteem. So one of the ways is to identify with yourself the favorite things you like about yourself, things that you find quite easy to accept about yourself. You might find that you enjoy the way you're compassionate to other people, or you might find that you're easygoing, or you might find that you're often offering yourself in terms of helping out others or being of service to others. So anything that you like about yourself, it's always a great way to identify with who you are. They're the things we want to focus on. That's a great little tool and tip there to help build your self-esteem. Next, sit or stand tall. Now, this is a really good one. You might even like to, I'm trying to keep the camera really still this week. I watched back last week and noticed it was sort of a bit wobbly. So try this with me while you're sitting. If you're slouching and your sort of shoulders are rolling forward, your chin tends to drop. So your physical self is in a position where you don't necessarily feel that great. But if you were to sit tall and straighten your spine and lift your shoulders back, you'll notice that your chin lifts as well. You automatically feel a lot better. Your spine's straighter. You feel just lifted. So simple, right? It's not even difficult to do. So rather than slouching while you're sitting, even when you're standing, just try a little alteration here of the body and just notice the difference immediately. Like I said, when the shoulders go back, the chin's lifted, chest is out, and you feel great. So that's another little tip there. Next tip, take regular breaks from life. Take time out from your everyday hectic life, whether it's school, work, or both. Just notice when you need a little break. So that could be simply putting things down or putting them aside for a few minutes and just going for a walk. You don't necessarily need to schedule these things into your day if it's not feeling like that's viable for you. So basically, hi Danny, how are you guys? So basically, that tip is all about just taking time out when you're feeling a little overwhelmed, when you feel that you need to get out of that zone just for a few minutes and take a deep breath. So doing that and having a little walk at the same time is going to bring some goodness to your moment or your hour or your 3 hours or whatever it might be. Okay, next tip. Read positive words. So they might be words that you'll find in a book or affirmations. Again, reading tells the brain the information and it processes the information that you're reading. It's really relative and important that you choose wisely because your brain will take on board what it is that you're reading. That's why we like to choose to do these positive forms, if you like, at the end of the day, so that they're the last things on our mind and that the brain can process them in a really positive way. So I wrote a little affirmation for you guys tonight that I thought I'd share with you, and I've called it Own It. So be every ounce of you every day. Never give up. Persistence pays off. Be your energy. Be authentic. And love who you are. So if you were to say those words to yourself every day or any opportunity you got to remind yourself of the few things that are important, it can really lift your spirits. And these are the things that we want to try and do regularly to keep building the self-esteem constantly. All right, second last one, laughing and smiling. Both of them are great tools for simply relaxing and feeling good. So that feel-good hormone, that serotonin that is released, is often referred to as the happiness hormone. And we release that when we're laughing and when we're smiling, and that's what we want. Obviously, when we release that serotonin, the body is ignited with good feelings, and not only that, it creates a mood for us. So regardless of your mood or regardless of what's going on at that particular time, if there's an opportunity for you to laugh or smile or just break away from the time that's creating a bad mood for you, it will make all the difference. Lastly, do something you love every single day. I know that probably sounds a bit cliche nowadays. We talk about it. There's lots of wonderful affirmations that we read that remind us of these things, but it's really, really important. Find something that you love. It doesn't have to take a lot of your time up. It doesn't have to be something you really necessarily need to schedule in every day, but it could be simple things. I'd hate to put thoughts and ideas too much into your head, but you might enjoy cooking. You might enjoy reading. Music might be your thing. Like we said last week, singing's always great. Just little things like that. Or walking, running, doing bike riding, some form of exercise. Again, it doesn't have to be a full hour. Just something that you know when you've finished participating in that whatever it is, that activity or that form that you decided to take on, you know you're going to feel great. And that's what's important. So there's a few tips. So what did we cover? Identifying with yourself, your favorite things about you, sitting or standing tall. For those who have missed out on that, I'm just joining in. Rather than slouching and letting the chin drop, sitting up, lifting up the spine, lifting the chest and the chin will automatically make you feel a lot better. Taking regular breaks from life in general. Take time out, go for short walks, have some time for yourself, reflect, do the things that you love. Read and say positive words as often as you possibly can. Really great building self-esteem tools there. Laughing and smiling and doing that more often will definitely, I mean, you can't frown and smile at the same time, right? So we do have choices, and once again, when that serotonin is released and we're feeling good, we are going to be smiling a lot more and a lot more often. So that's what we want to try and focus on. So Jason's just saying cooking, peace, create, taste, enjoy. Absolutely. So, I have to say, Jason's not my cup of tea. I'm not the best in the kitchen. I'm not going to pretend that I enjoy it either, because, we're all different. But I do know people that love, time out in the kitchen. And I think that's great. That's important for you to do that and have that opportunity as often as you can. In fact, come to my house. You can do it every night. That would be great. Anyway, so there's some tips tonight on ways that you can build your self-esteem. So if you manage to bring a notepad and pen with you this week, that would be great if you could jot down a couple, or if you've got them all, fantastic, but even better, if you can practice 2 to 3 of those types of tips that we talked about every single day, that would definitely help. That would certainly be building on your self-esteem. So give that a go. Before I go on, does anyone have any questions at this point in time, or will I continue? I do like to talk, as you know. All good? All right, no worries, I'll keep going. So the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight is fitting in and how you feel about fitting in and making those comparisons with some of the things in terms of self-esteem that we talked about. Is it a problem for you? Is it something that concerns you or consumes you? So why I brought that up tonight is I think that's really important to go off after what we talked about last week, being your true authentic self and then fitting in. So if you feel that you are doing that and being your true authentic self and you're still not fitting in, what can we do about it? So another little exercise that you can do is write down, divide your page, write down all the things on one side that you do love about yourself and that you find is easy to like and you're happy with. On the other side of the page, write down the things that you're not so happy with or you're not so comfortable with. And when you finish those lists, have a little look at that side, that one side that you're not really that happy with or keen on. And I want you to go down the bottom of your page and see if you can write down how you can fix that. Why I say fix is because I think if we are the problem solver in our life rather than the victim, we've got a much better chance of feeling good instead of plummeting or letting things get us down. So awareness is huge. Being aware of certain things in our lives that we're not happy with is accepting them, one, and then looking at ways of making them better. So how can we be a problem solver and fix the things that we're not happy with in our life, just in order to be happy more often and not let these things get us down? Last week we touched on energy and other people identifying what it is that we put out, if you like, and people notice our energy. So if we're really struggling with certain things about ourselves, or things that we're not really that confident with, or we're not happy with, people are going to notice that. And that can be a real issue when it comes to who we are attracting in our life and in our world. So it's quite important, I think. It's a really great exercise for us to sit down and write these things out, have the two things going, have all the great things and all the positive things, have the other things that we're not that happy or keen on, and problem solve. Find a way that you can deal with it, accept it, and move on from there. That way, when you've dealt with that, people aren't even going to notice it because it's gone. It doesn't exist in you any longer, and you're very, very happy with who you are, and you're living your authentic self that we've talked about. So that's another little exercise that you could perhaps look at doing in your own time, of course, and just see what you come up with. Really interesting. Okay, so that brings me to a little topic. Well, it's a big topic, and we'll cover it at length another week. But mindfulness gives you that space where you can really think and identify with the things that perhaps you might be suppressing, things that you would like to deal with, but maybe just sort of brush it under the table for a while because it all gets a little bit too hard sometimes. And that's fair, and that we all do it. That's human nature. We don't really want to look at the things that we don't like. We don't really want to admit things get us down. But it's very healthy to identify these things within ourselves so we can either accept them, change them, or let go of them. So mindfulness, when you're in that moment of being truly present, it just gives you an opportunity to feel more. Stop that thinking mind, that active mind of chaos and criticism and people's thoughts that keep coming to us constantly. Someone may have said something to us and we've really taken it to heart. We're really taking it on board, and it just keeps playing over and over and over in our mind. Nobody else, mind you. The person who said it could have said it in a completely different way to how we've interpreted that, right? So this is where all that overthinking starts to come in and can take over and make us feel quite bad. So when we give ourselves the opportunity to be mindful and present, we don't have that to deal with. We don't have those thoughts. We're not in that mindset. We are in that present moment of just allowing ourselves to be. And that really is a gift, and it's hard. I'm not saying it's an easy thing for you just to do. We need to learn it, and we need to practice it. And that's great. I mean, that's what I do. I love teaching mindfulness because it's such a gift and a tool that we can do daily. It's free. It becomes easy, trust me, when you do it regularly and you actually look forward to that time of just you. That headspace is just yours. It's not for anyone else to comment on, or it's not for anyone else to have an opinion of or share. It's just you and your inner voice. So I wanted to mention your inner voice and what that is. And that's that little feeling you get when you need to action something or listen to something. Because honestly, you have all the answers. You know best. We can read, we can listen, we can follow others who are successful or others who have gained certain things in life that you look up to. That's fantastic. But at the end of the day, the only person that can really truly help you understand who you are is you. And the best way you can do that, guys, is by taking some time out and be mindful as often as you can. And we will, I promise, we will cover that. We'll do that if you're interested in wanting to learn it. So it's all very positive. There is definitely great stuff in all this. What I wanted to finish on tonight is what not to do. Okay, so we've talked about these tips about what to do to build your self-esteem, how that's going to make you feel. We've talked about to own yourself and own who you are and how you feel. And we've talked about ways that you can feel like you fit in no matter what. What you shouldn't do, however, is beat yourself up. So that list that I talked about, that side you don't like, don't give that any energy other than looking at ways that you can problem solve those key areas. Other than that, don't give it any time or energy. Look for things that you do love about yourself. Replace it. Forget the negatives, forget the things that you don't like. Look for the things that you do like. Don't take on board any others' opinions. Their values are different to yours. They think differently to you. Their life is different to yours. You really have no idea, and none of us have any idea what's going on in any other household, what each of us are going through or dealing with. Yet we are so open to listening to our friends and taking on board their opinions and views of us. And we really have no idea what state of mind they're in, but yet we let it consume us instead of listening to ourselves. So try to take time to not allow that to happen. Engage in conversations, and girls have their way of handling situations. We like to talk. Boys tend to just keep things a little bit, buried and don't talk as much. That's not being sexist. That's just a generalization of males and females. However, talking can create a negative feel. So if we do end up in conversations that are negative about ourselves and others, it can snowball and make us feel quite uncomfortable and quite uneasy. So could you imagine the flip side, where we're talking great things and we're laughing and things are positive? Of course, that flow is great. That energy is beautiful. That's what we need to do more of. Steer clear of the negatives and steer clear of the things that are not making you feel good, and turn it over. There is an opposite to everything. Remember, there are polar opposites in everything, and energy is like that as well. So remember those few things if you can. The other thing is to not say harmful words about yourself. It's so easy when you drop something, or I'm an idiot, or if you forget something, I'm so forgetful, I'm so useless, or geez, I just can't get it together. It seems quite harmless because we do it all the time. It's so natural for us to put ourselves down, but it's really quite crucial to what you really do think of yourself. Eventually, you're going to think you're a clumsy clot who can't do anything properly because you're constantly dropping things, right? So the brain just sets us up for failure. And it's just the way it is. So, if things like that happen, just, make a joke of it, forget it, get on with it, and praise yourself for the next thing you do. That's great. So that constantly, again, you're lifting that vibration. You're always rising above it to the point where you talk well to yourself, you feel good, you know it, and other people will know it as well. And that's just something that you can help other people do, because that's a really great feeling for everyone to be around. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight. Does anyone have any questions or any input or suggestions that they want to type in? And the other thing is, next week I wanted to talk more about emotions. So things like fear and worry, peace, calm, and just make some observations into the differences and talk about what they are and how easy it is to change certain things in our life once we know it. It's really great being aware. It's all it is being aware, educating ourselves, understanding it enough to action it and make some really positive changes. So we're going to finish on that. We're going to talk about emotions next week. So tonight, if you're interested in continuing weekly with our little tips and exercises is the word I'm looking for. Tonight's exercise was to split your page in half and to write what you love and feel great about on one side and what you're not so keen on or wrapped on the other side. And down the bottom, I would like you to just make a note of how you can problem solve those areas and what you can do in order to change those few things. And if you need help with anything, please let me know. You can message me anytime, and that's not a problem, or we can go through it again at another day. So Dan's asked, any tips on starting the new school year positively? For sure. Okay, well, the new school year is obviously, well, I think generally it's just settling in, isn't it? It's after 6 weeks is a long time to have your feet up, have your feet up as kids do, and just enjoy that downtime. I think switching the mindset into getting into a nice routine again is really healthy. So starting your day with a morning routine, and then of course finishing off with those tips that we talked about last week. I think for most of us, routine works really, really well. It gives us those little guidelines, if you like, or boundaries to help us kickstart back into what it is we need to do after a lovely break of, like I said, relaxing and swimming and enjoying our life. So going to school is routine. Times we need to be ready. We need to have everything in order for a successful day. And I really do think that being organized is a fantastic way to start your year off in a positive way. So maybe again, I really do love I never used to read. I've never journaled. I did, sorry. When I was in high school, I journaled for a little while, but it wasn't like therapeutic journaling. It was just like, high school girl stuff. And I'm not that proud of what we were writing in our journals, to be honest. But anyway, nowadays I read a lot and I write a lot, and I just think that when you write things down, it makes you feel so much better. So I guess a tip there would to write down your routine for the week. Write down your Monday to Friday, when you have to be ready, when you have to be up, ready, what you need for that day in terms of your schedule at school. So have your books and everything ready. Great going to bed knowing that all that's sorted. You can get up, have your breakfast, go for a swim, go for a walk, do some breathing, whatever it is that you do in the morning. And I really would suggest that you guys look at starting something like that as well, before you sort of get into your day, that you just take a few minutes to do some breathing and just some centering. We can go through that at a later stage if you're interested in knowing about that. It's just a nice settling way just to start your day. And then, of course, when you get home from school, you know what you need to do to get through the afternoon and have that downtime after dinner. And routine's great just to get you through everything in a positive way. And, of course, those little tips on being grateful for things that happen throughout the day. Reflection's huge. And I know I'm a big fan of Oprah Winfrey, and I know she talks about reflecting. In one of her interviews, she talked about she reflects every single day. Before she goes to bed, she reflects on her day, and I think that's an asset for us to be able to just do that and think about the great things in it. Obviously, there's going to be days where there's things that aren't that great, but we need to deal with that. Again, everything's about, opposites, yin and yang, positive, negative. It's up to us how we choose to, where we choose to spend most of our time, I guess. So I hope that helps, Dan. I think, writing down your routine for the week, giving yourself some time out, scheduling in some of that downtime as well. And of course, keeping that one day where everything's flexible and nothing has to be routine, where you can just let it go and just relax and go, this is my chill day. This is my day where I'm just going to, do what I need to do in order to feel good and get ready for my next week. So it's not so hectic and it doesn't feel like there's too much, going on at one time. But again, routine's great, but being spontaneous is also great when you're talking about throwing in something extra for yourself, and that makes you feel good. that one tip of doing something you love every single day, I mean, that can be really spontaneous. You can change that up. One day you could be feeling a bit low and need something really, something extra to give you that lift. Great. Throw that in, you know, so it's always nice to have those options as well. Well, I think that might be everything for tonight, guys. We've got a smaller group tonight, but we've got the live, so sorry, we've got the recording, so we can everybody can look back at it hopefully and have a little listen. And like I said, I'm always available. You can message me any questions or anything that you might like to go through. But let's keep sharing this group, and it will fluctuate, I know. And today is Australia Day, so most people are probably out of whack and out of routine anyway. But let's see if we can try and keep this rolling, and different with different people joining in, might even be able to open up some new areas and different questions and different insights, if you like, into what's going on in our teenagers' world at the moment. What sort of things are they dealing with, or are you guys dealing with? You know, that would be really helpful as well. Obviously, I can come up with topics, and I mean, most of you know me. I can talk till the cows come home, so I don't have a problem with talking. However, what's really important is that the topics that I am bringing up and talking about is helpful. So it'd be really, really great to get a little bit of feedback from anybody or friends that you might know that are interested in learning a little bit about more, or just discussion topics, things that are concerning you, things you would like help with or guidance with. I mean, that's what we're all about. It's not about being wrong or right. It's having that guidance and that assistance and that trust in people. And I think for us, the more we speak and communicate, the more opportunity we've got of really dealing with some serious issues and keeping things moving forward. You know, that's what it's all about. It's about moving forward constantly. So if we stay in the past for too long, that's a real hindrance, and that can bring us down and obviously create, you know, illnesses, depression and things like that are really difficult to deal with. So moving forward is what we want to focus on. And how do we do that? It's about basically knowing what we need to do in order to do that. We need to understand who we are as people, what our values are, what our personality types will allow us to do, what's our essential nature. There's lots of different areas that we can cover that's going to help you find those answers. And of course, really practicing that the technique of spending some time out for yourself and being mindful. Really, at the end of the day, if we don't allow that space to be created, it's just going to increase. The clutter will increase, the thought patterns will increase, the behavior will constantly be the same. It won't know how to change. So we do need to look after our mind, and we do need to be aware that there's ways we can do that. And like I said earlier, it absolutely costs nothing except your time, just a few minutes of your time. So that's pretty much it, guys. I've just noticed we've had a few people join, and I'm thinking, I feel like I need to check the time. Did I get the times right? Or has everyone just had a really, come on, type in and help me out. Where have you girls been? Has everyone had a couple of ciders this afternoon and forgot the time? Or I'm pretty much wrapping up tonight's live now, but thank you so much for joining me again tonight, and please feel free to have a listen. The tips that we talked about tonight on building self-esteem obviously are recorded here, so I'd love you to have a listen, and I'd love you to start practicing some of them, a couple of them, all of them if you're keen. That's great. Practice those exercises, and also read through that affirmation, and remember, the more you laugh and smile, the more serotonin you release, the more you're going to feel good. So keep smiling, guys, and I'll love to see you all again next Thursday, where we'll talk some more. If there's no, oh, I won't finish just yet, just in case there's another question. Okay, Deb, that's great. And like I said, those who are going to listen back to the live, just text me or Facebook message me any questions that you might have that you weren't able to ask me tonight or clarify tonight. That's about it by the looks of it. Well, happy Australia Day again, everyone. I hope you had a beautiful day, and we've only got one more day of formality and we're back into the weekend again. Kind of feels like we don't really do much else. So that's a good thing. Keep smiling, and I'll see you all next week. Bye for now.